Good evening, it's the club. We are back on a Monday night and we're back on Perry, I believe, which was unbeknownst to me until about 10 minutes ago, but not unlike a little bit of a surprise. So, in tonight, I've got Pete. How are you doing, Pete?
Hey, how's it going?
Yeah, good. We've got Gar. How's it going, Gar?
Right, thank you very much.
Yeah, good. And we got Phil on decks, running the show, as usual. How's it going, Phil?
Give me a pig!
Yeah. I've worked it out now after last week. Right, so we're here to discuss primarily Liverpool's win at the weekend against Aston Villa. We will probably, because there's a frenzy of VAR conversation, we'll probably touch on VAR as well. But last week we were in here, we were recording the pod. I successfully predicted a win on penalties against Arsenal, Gar, followed by a win at Villa. Not as convincing as I was thinking, but anyway, what was your view of Saturday's game and the Late Show? Nothing to do with Gay Byrne, the Late Show.
That's a bit rough.
Don't cry, Philip, don't cry.
Now, Pete,
Pete,
you're a professional. So if you weren't in making love to that microphone, I swear I'll come over there now. Right, I'll move your seat closer. That's the one big thing you have to do in here. Right?
My bum only stretches so far.
How did you view that Late Show?
Nervy, wasn't it? First half, a bit sloppy, passing side to side a bit, midfield went missing a bit. It was mad, wasn't it? It's just the VAR stuff, obviously, again, ruining the game. I know Phil's a bit of a fan of it at the moment. Phil's guy over there. But now, there's one major thing about it for me was Trent's performance. So now I put up.
He's getting all the plaudits, isn't he? Yeah. I mean, we seem to rave about one player every week. You know, Fabinho last week, Bobby comes in for his praise. You know, Mane, but this week was Trent's really, wasn't it?
Unbelievable performance from a right forward. It just, you know, the only thing that let him down, he didn't get a goal. In fairness,
yeah.
I saw a few comments made about the goal we conceded as well. But what's zone or marking,
and it was so
anyway.
close to being offside. Like, you know what I mean? It
100%. It's easy for people to comment on it and put what they want on Twitter. If they haven't played in that area, but it's impossible to actually to play it properly. In fairness, like Henderson's left on the back post with 3 lads on him. And
it was great ball in.
Let's call, if that was Van Dijk there'd be nothing said about it.
Henderson, the usual scapegoat. I mean, the amount of Liverpool fans that I see just lining up to slay Henderson, people that don't understand how important he is off the ball. I mean, some of these lads are watching Match of the Day, they're watching highlights, and they don't.
Great show, by the way.
Yeah, but they don't see the work that guy gets through to get us the ball back. I mean, for me, he's fantastic. And we were talking about Alexander Arnold, 100 games in, so young. You know, he's pulling up trees, but for me, I see a midfielder in there. I don't see a fullback.
Especially with the passing range, Pete. There was 2 balls he played out to Robinson that were out of this world.
Seeing a few loops of that.
And when you're doing it and you're looking at it and you're going, that's going to be cut out. By the fullback easily, and you're going.
And if it is, you're slating him for it. But he seems it's when to do it as well. He's not trying it every time. Sometimes he's mixing it up. It's like we're looking at a 27, 28-year-old. You know, in fairness, sometimes now he gets caught in behind. Let's be honest.
He's bound to with the way our fullbacks play. In fairness, Robertson not as much. You know, he seems to be the target for a lot of teams. Maybe because he's so young, a bit naivety at times in the position.
Can I throw the spanner in? Just say hello to everyone. Hello, everyone. Random hand. I'll just use it.
This is where our 20 viewers go down to 15.
I look like green screen there. That's a real hand. But no, genuine question, right? Most of the narrative around the game at the weekend is purely about refereeing. Okay, there's this sort of veil of VAR. You mentioned it there, right? Like, you can talk about the performance and we talk about resilience and the mental resilience, right? You can talk about the fact that we had 74% possession, we had 26 shots on target, we had a disallowed goal, we had 2 penalties that should have been given, potentially 3 penalties. There's one for Firmino, there's one on Salah, there's one a handball, and actually there's also the Mane one that he goes down, right? But ultimately, it all comes back to refereeing, right?
Can I just say one thing on the refereeing, right? Because I want to point one thing out, because there was one piece of absolutely brilliant refereeing from John Moss at the end of that game. So just in the lead up to the goal, the second goal, there's the foul on Oxlade-Chamberlain, and he lets the chance move on for a few seconds, and then he gives the foul, and actually that ultimately contributes massively to us winning the game. So like calling that out, it was an excellent piece of refereeing, because Trent then hits the free kick, goes out for a corner, we score from a resulting corner.
Don't you think, Ray, it's an indictment on refereeing at the moment when you're seeing a pretty routine piece of advantage play, and you're saying, oh, isn't that absolutely right?
I know, because there's so much shite around, you know, what's going on ultimately, and we think that VAR is going to kind of bail referees' mistakes, but actually what it's doing is it's doubling down, isn't it?
The problem with VAR, it's very simple. The technology is fine. The problem is the people behind it. As long as it's human driven, and if it's a referee's representative making the decision, the referees, like any organisation, are going to, we talked about this off air, they're going to circle their wagons and they're going to support each other. There's at least got to be an independent, qualified but independent decision maker in that box making that decision. I mean, we saw something that was very embarrassing. Fellas moving lines until Firmino's armpit was offside. I mean, for the Premier League to issue a statement an hour after the game talking about an armpit, that's how low it's gone. Lads, I've said this, I say it to Philip every week on Twitter. The key is
Philip?
That bloke over there, the bloke in the questionable pink suit.
Which one, Pete?
Accountability.
Number 26.
Where's the accountability? I mean,
there is no accountability, because the fella who's doing all of that nonsense the next day is refereeing a match. There's, you know.
But can I? There's one bit, because like I'm going to be straight, right? I'm not sure. I'm struggling to buy into corruption or conspiracy or. It's complete incapability. I think it's just a lack of being a good referee in England for whatever reason, right? This circling of the wagons, this refusal to be able to accept criticism or accountability for their decisions and the reason why they do certain things in a match. That to me is the fundamental issue that we have here. We have a system that should be about recognising mistakes, errors, and all that type of stuff in the game, right? But instead, we have the proviso that there has to be a clear and obvious error by the gobshite on the pitch, right? Yeah. If VAR overrules the gobshite on the pitch, it means that he's the gobshite on the pitch. Now, when you take one of the fellas that are in the pitch and you put him into the box, or you put his linesman into the box with him, and they're the ones making the decision, you still got the same gobshites that are on the pitch, only in a box.
Yeah.
Who will now not overrule their mate on the pitch because it's prime time television.
Yeah.
What they need to do is the first thing they need to do is remove referees and linesmen from the decision making. They need to have specific TMOs. They need to have specific things which is separate from the group of people.
See,
of
this is you with your American sports hat on. I pay attention when you're not talking about Liverpool. You're talking about that statistics-driven nonsense sport that you stay up till 4 o'clock in the morning to watch. In fairness, though, you've got a point. But you've got a point. Yeah. There's a level, a tiering. And there's no one takes it personal. It goes to the TMO. Referee accepts. I'm human. I couldn't see that. So the TMO has seen it, and let's call it. And it's
what you've got to remember, though, is we in England we've got this long history now of poor refereeing. You know, our top referee who would represent us at major championships and stuff like that.
Since they went
Graham Poll, useless. Howard Webb, useless. I don't even think we managed to get a referee go to the last major championship because there wasn't anyone good enough. Thankfully, I think, I say this touching wood, but I think Michael Oliver is starting to...
Are they real hands on the desk?
I think Michael Oliver is starting to grow into someone who is a competent referee, and we've got him for the game this coming weekend against City. So when I was thinking of who the logical choice for a showcase game that's going to go around the world this weekend would be, he was the first person who popped into my head, to be fair. So let's hope this weekend isn't the shit show, because the last thing that any of us want, I'd say City and Liverpool fans, is this just to be an absolute, a game that's completely dominated by VAR speak at the end of it.
Pete and Gary, you're involved in coaching, and Pete, you were involved in playing and even with players around it. But like the next bit I want to get to, right? It's not just the separating the referees from the guys who are in the box making decisions.
Yeah.
The next bit is utilise technology. This is my 3-point plan to solve the VAR issue and make it what we want it to be, which is an improvement on match day standards, right? The next bit is use technology. Don't just use your eyes, right? So in a goal line situation, they go to Hawkeye.
Yeah.
Right? And they can make the Hawkeye decision within a fraction of a second to tell you whether the ball is over the line or not over the line, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Nobody can tell me why in that instance or in any of the offside instances, once they freeze framed it, why can't they go to Hawkeye?
Yeah, let the AI make.
Why can't they go to Hawkeye where it's basically above the players? They know where the players are on the pitch and in the trajectory on the pitch, and that will rule it out once and for all. If the defender on the Hawkeye there is slightly in front of the centre forward, he's onside. And if the player, the part of his body that can score, is in front of the defender, he's offside.
Well, Philip, you're touching on something there, and it's fundamental. Hawkeye technology is there to decide whether a ball's over the line. You and I, Gar and I, we both agree. All of us agree. Ball's over the line's over the line. We know what defines that. The problem is how a referee or how a group of referees define offside varies from referee to referee.
But it shouldn't, because they've made the rule black and white, right? And the rule is black and white. Before, there was the element of, because they couldn't keep up with the game, you were to give the benefit of the doubt to the attacker, right? They've removed the benefit of the doubt when VAR is involved because they're able to make the decision, is he in front or is he behind? And it goes back to what the original offside law was black and white, right? So once you're down to a black and white ruling on the pitch, it's simple. If you've got Hawkeye, go to Hawkeye and you can do. But this removes again the idea that somebody has to look at a video to establish whether you're onside or offside.
Here the beep, he's gone.
Use the technology, and that can be done in fractions of seconds. In reality, the decisions that go to somebody in a box should be limited to the tackles, should be limited to things where it isn't quite clear, and it will never be clear. There's always going to be a matter of grey. Like you go back to, say, the Mane one where he gets booked for diving. It is possible to be booked for diving and still get a penalty. You can still be booked for simulation because the contact didn't bring about the dive that went on.
That you've gone and produced.
It's a strange one that for me.
It is.
Strange one that for me.
You can still be booked for simulation, but it's still a penalty. So when they show from the other angle, they obviously aren't looking at all the angles. And a thing at the very start of the season was that they only had 6 angles to review. Yet Sky has 25 different angles on every game. So that's so point number 2 on the VAR, right? Yeah. If you want to make it, remove the matchday officials from the box. Use every bit of technology to improve your decision-making capability, because once you remove the grey area on the pitch, you get consistent right decisions, right? And you remove this idea that there could be a conspiracy, or that they're making it up as they go along, or that they don't know when to come in and go out, right?
When you get football in absolutes, which is what you're talking about there, you're talking about 4 and 5 penalties a game. Because if you look at the lead up to Mane's goal on Saturday, if that goal's not given out, I'm not saying other decisions would have been given, but first of all, Mane gets a kick to the face, which I'm pretty sure is illegal, and at least a free kick.
He did it a few years ago when he got sent off.
Second of all, Virgil van Dijk and I think it's Roberto Firmino's jerseys are being held, I think, by Tyrone Mings and somebody else from the back. In fact, I think someone's got their arm around
someone's neck,
Firmino's neck, and their hand on Virgil van Dijk's jersey.
Yeah.
That's a foul. So you're talking about maybe 4 and 5 penalties a game, but so be it. People are moaning about not enough.
Spoke about this last week or week before last in regards of, you know, incidents in the boxing. It was Phil who touched on it again. If you start doing it now, it cuts it out.
It ends it.
100%. It ends
but what
it.
you find in those situations is one in about every 30 gets called, and then everyone's shocked when it does get called. Do you know what I mean?
Do it. Stamp it now. Do it. And someone, and a referee is not going to do it because he's going to be castrated for it. One ref, or where, if it can be done, needs to go, right, lads, that's a penalty. Penalty.
The only time you're dragging it called, you played, Gary, you know this. If I'm a centre forward, and that's what I was when I started,
you weren't.
Not much of one.
You're a goalkeeper, and I started as a left back.
You ended me as a goalkeeper. That's another story right there. But he ended me at 11. I was heartbroken, but I found out I could do other things. But if you're a centre forward in a box or whatever, and someone's got a hold of you, it's the attempt to get away from him. Someone sees the jersey stretching, and then you'll get the decision. That's the only time you'll.
Well, especially now, as players are more prone to diving.
Yeah, well.
It's only gonna get worse and worse and worse. And I've listened to TalkSport today, and they're talking about simulation and all the calls the weekend, and obviously Mane was subject to it as well. Harry Kane gets away with it every week, but it's never discussed.
When Harry Kane does it, it's an intelligent use of the body. When Mohamed Salah does it, it's that brown boat is going down in the box again. Let's call a spade a spade.
It is.
I was thinking about this last night, and how do you spin it without offending people? There is no way to offend it. It's just racism. I mean, I look at people like Alan Shearer, commenting. There's some of the friends I have. I'm not into racism, obviously, but you look at. I don't know how Ian Wright can sit in the studio with Alan Shearer sometimes because he's going on about Harry Kane. Look at how strong he is. Look at how intelligent he is, running across his man, drawing the foul. Then Mohamed Salah, this is terrible. We've got to, these people. We've got to stamp it out. We've got to stamp it out.
Coming into our country, taking our jobs.
I'm sorry, but it's blatant racism.
But they won't. But it's interesting because they won't call it. They don't call Sterling. They used to call Sterling a diver. They've stopped calling him a diver, right? Since he brought up the stuff in the Mail, and then it's also. I think it's more xenophobia. And I've always backed this, that the idea that
English
players don't dive, and anyone brought up in the English game doesn't dive, right? But anyone that's come in from the continent brings the dark arts and wants to dive. So Perez was the worst diver in the world. Mane is now being tagged with it in terms of a diver. Salah has been branded as it. They've said it about Firmino at times as well.
Ronaldo was bad.
Ronaldo was a terrible
Daniel
diver.
James is the worst diver I've seen.
There's some of the stuff he was up to against Liverpool as well.
I'm not saying because he's a Manchester United player, but it's like he's coached on it. And because this is a championship player, so. I didn't. He's pure pace. He's like an Olympic sprinter, but it looks to me like, I don't know if he had that reputation at Swansea, but it looks to me like someone's coached that into him. To be honest with you.
But the other final point on the VAR thing, right?
Apart from this, about to just turn into like when you're on a fruit machine and you land on the question mark, and you're just gonna press the button and it's just gonna make a decision, and that's gonna be it. That's as good as it's gonna get.
Well, to me, like if I have a 10-point plan to get to sort out football. We'll stick to 3 on the VAR side, right? The whole point of having the VAR is use it consistently. And when I say that, it's not just for incidents in the box, right? Where if somebody gets hacked down 30 yards outside their own goal, right? And this is not in relation to the Gomez thing or anything like that, but somebody gets hacked down 30 yards outside the goal, it's the same as if they get taken down the box. If somebody gets taken down the box and the ref misses it, right? Then VAR has to intervene. If somebody if somebody's cut off the ball, VAR has to intervene. It can't be inside the box. And the application of the handball rule, again, it's the application of the laws of the game consistently and across the whole pitch. Right? Even with the Son decision yesterday, what annoyed me about that one was he didn't intentionally go for that to happen to Gomez.
That's have that in the locker.
Yeah, it's an absolute freak accident, right? And Atkinson pulls out the yellow card, and then VAR intervenes and tells him, no, that was a dangerous challenge, and he's broken his ankle, and he gets a red card instead.
So was it straight red, was it? It wasn't a second yellow?
Straight red.
He did the whole motion thing to change.
And I think personally, right, it wasn't a red card.
No.
It was a cynical foul, but it wasn't a cynical foul. It wasn't the type of foul.
I just thought he got 2 yellows, to be honest.
Yeah, it wasn't a reckless. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's a difference between a cynical foul, which is a yellow card, and a reckless challenge, which can be a straight red. Right? It's like the one I saw somebody put up thing. How is this? This is ruining the game. He goes and wins the ball. He goes in off the ground. I think it was a Norwich player actually. He went in off the ground with his stud showing. He wins the ball all right, but that's the type that if he's a half a second late,
he's breaking.
And your man takes it, he's taking a man's ankle. You know. And it's those reckless shots. All I want, Ray, it's a simple thing, right? Remove the refs from the box. Use technology to its fullest, and apply it across the pitch and at any point in the game. Not where there's an error.
It's funny, to back your point up, Tottenham Hotspur will appeal that red card and they will win.
I'd say so. Yeah.
So what does that say? Do you know what I mean? They've gone to VAR, they've made the decision, and they've decided whatever. But they will appeal that decision, and they'll appeal it
to me. The major, as I said to you earlier, the major point of impact to me that I say is Aurier
whacking the damage.
The other aspect for me that drove me mad through the week was obviously the VAR gods conspiring against us again, because there's the goal, the first Arsenal goal is blatantly offside, and guess what? There's no VAR in play, so
and no lines.
That's the other thing that does my head in. To be honest with you, the fact that it's not it's not in competition.
Arsenal are a comedy show at the moment. I mean, they're conspiring against themselves. It's incredible. It's
great,
incredible.
Isn't it?
Yeah, to be honest with you, because for years we had no choice but to applaud I mean, I went to Highbury years ago when I lived in London, and I saw them more than Bolton. I mean, JJ Okocha for me was the best player in the park, but it was like a scripted theatre. They were that good. And I remember them coming to Anfield later that season, destroying us. I think Henry got 2 or 3, and again our supporters had to clap them off the park. That's how good they were. So I kind of enjoying this.
If you looked the other night, lads, soon Ozil was absolutely ridiculous the other night on the pitch. He was running the show, and as you say, a joke shop. Emre pulls him off, and Arsenal fall to bits in midfield.
The problem with coaches,
that's the joke.
The problem with coaches like Emre, and you know this from being a coach, you walk into a dressing room, and Philip will tell you from being a decent goalkeeper, you walk into a dressing room, you get a manager. Philip, you played for Mick Bourne, and I know Mick. Mick will walk into the dressing room and Emery's doing it. Listen, this is my philosophy. This is what I want everybody to do. So what he's doing immediately is he's backing himself into a corner. So if anybody's got anything different about them and they do things in a different way, he's got to go. Because 6 or 7 players are going to go, Pete Smith's a gobshite, Mick's a gobshite, because he hasn't applied this to Ozil. Sometimes you have to say, listen, guys, we have a couple of special individuals in the dressing room. So you, Guendouzi or whoever, you're going to do work that he's not going to do to enable him to keep us higher up the park for longer. That's good coaching. The problem with guys like Emery, they have a plan, a blanket plan, and if you don't fit into that plan, that's it, you're gone. The problem with that works when you're winning, like under Jose Mourinho. He had a plan, if you didn't fit, you were gone. But when you're not winning games, people are going, well, look at Ozil, he could be turning games for us. And that's why Arsenal, they've one finger on the trigger. He's gone. If somebody else shows an interest, if Jose Mourinho says yes, he's gone. Is that the right decision? Maybe no. Maybe he deserves.
Well, you touch on that from a coaching point of view there. If you look at what Klopp has done with his functioning midfield, and as much as people give out about being a Brexit midfield, I know we've often spoke about it here at times. It's a functioning midfield.
It is a functioning midfield.
Henderson is in there for a reason. We've seen him pop up at right mid the last few weeks a bit more to cover.
Throw Lallana in.
Lallana in the 6, absolutely sensational.
You can't have 2 fullbacks to contribute 20 odd assists without a midfield like ours. I mean, those guys are getting through miles and miles. The biggest sign of Liverpool's success from me right now is the amount of top sides who are failing and trying to sorry, I'm not a professional, but trying to imitate. The minute Solskjaer got his permanent job, he decided, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. Pardon me for using language. I'm going to run the bollocks out of these guys, and I'm going to try and get up to Liverpool's fitness stats. That doesn't work. That takes time. You walk into a dressing room and say, guys, I'm going to change the way we train, going to change the way we eat, going to change the way we play. You guys in the middle of the park are going to do 13 kilometres a game, whether you like it or not, because that's the way I want it. Because I want my fullbacks to have that freedom to play the 80, 90 yard game and not get punished in behind. That's what Klopp does. Solskjaer wanted to do that in 6 weeks, and now he's got half a squad because they're all injured.
Well, look, we're going to cut it there on the Perry. We're going to continue this on in the podcast. So
can I just say that in the absence of an FB4 Daily tonight, that's probably brought to you in association with Paddy Power.
It could be, and we'll put our own special on there for
free service.
Free service. And also on tonight's advertisements, Pete, what's the name of your single that's coming out for anyone that's watching?
Just go on at iTunes and look for Sonic Brother, which is the band, and download Running Away or Vilnius, which is my favourite song on the EP. So download Vilnius, it's a better song.
I just love the way Phil Lynott has been reincarnated. It's deadly, isn't it?
Give me his money.
But for anyone that's watching, the podcast will be a longer frame of this in the morning. So that's it.
Happy